Hey guys, it's Kay from Chaos Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/AITA, or r/AmITheA. So I'm 17 and I used to be morbidly obese. I was actually morbidly obese until last year when I decided to stop eating my parents' food and make my own. I'm now at a normal healthy weight, going to the gym every day and trying to build muscle, and I feel really great. I went from 130 kilograms to 70 kilograms and I'm 5'9". For those of you who use pounds, that's about 287 pounds to around 155 pounds. Anyways, my sister eats horribly. She's morbidly obese. My parents always buy her huge bags of sweets, in which she eats all of it. She eats an entire pizza for dinner, eats a huge Doritos share bag all by herself, is practically allergic to water. Burgers and oily drenched chips is a tradition in our house too. Anyways, I saw her eating 5 white bread grilled cheese sandwiches fried in a pan filled with butter. The sandwiches were practically soaked with oily butter and with 2 packets of crisps on the side. My mother made it for her. 5 sandwiches. It's absolutely insane, I think. And there was a nice Coke can to go with it. I told my sister that she could at least substitute the Coke for water and that the volume of food was too much. I offered her a piece of tofu, in which I was having for lunch. Tofu is actually delicious. More people should try it. She told my mother, and my mother screamed at me and told me that I'm ruining her childhood and that nobody told me to eat healthy when I was a child. I wish someone did. Apparently, eating junk and being huge is a good childhood. My mother said that I was being extremely offensive and that she might now not let me go off with my friends next week anymore for camping. Was I in the wrong? I think you're actually in the wrong for saying that tofu is actually delicious, just because it's really not. I have yet to make tofu taste good, ever. But I'm not really sure. I mean, someone's got to say something, but I don't know if you came across the wrong way, but at the same time, the mom feeding her like that and saying that that's a good childhood is not really healthy, and also really not healthy for her mind, like the way that she sees the world now. She's gonna think that happiness equates with food, which isn't good either. So I don't know, tell me your thoughts, guys. I've got a friend, we'll call him Bob, who is consistently 15 minutes late to everything. Dinner, parties, movies, any other social situation. It's a running joke in our group. We talk about things in Bob time. For a lot of stuff, like meeting at a bar or something, I just don't care. It doesn't change anything, but there are times, last week getting ready to go to a concert, that we end up with a group of people sitting around waiting for him to show up. I've talked to him about it, told him that it's rude and inconsiderate to everyone and that he needs to try to make an effort to be where he says he's going to be when he needs to be there. He'll agree, and then nothing ever changes. Lately, I've been just telling him a meetup time is about 30 minutes before anyone else is showing up to account for Bob time. It's been working for the most part, and he's only been a bit late some of the time, but it's been an improvement all around. This weekend, he found out what I was doing when he was actually the first one to show up for a game night and completely lost his mind. He called me the a-hole, said I've been lying to him, which yeah, I was, and basically throwing a tantrum. I mean, it's not good to lie to somebody, but I mean, you guys have had this conversation before. He doesn't change anything. I mean, honestly, I feel like this should be kind of something he should look at himself and realize how long he's been lied to and managed to only be on time when he was supposed to be there 30 minutes early. I feel like that should be like a personal wake-up call. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Hi, I got in an argument with a stranger in a bar restroom yesterday, and I've been conflicted about this all day. Sometimes I think he was the a-hole, and sometimes I think maybe I was. I went into the bar restrooms, male restrooms, as I really needed to take a pee. So I went in, and there was 2 men in there and 1 child. The child was a little girl. She was the daughter of one of the men in there. There was only 1 cubicle and 2 urinals. All 3 people were queuing for the cubicle toilet. So I walked by and went up to one of the free urinals. The father then said to me, could I please not use the urinal as his daughter was present? I hesitated and said, okay, sorry, sure. And so joined the queue for the toilet cubicle behind them all. Then I thought, F this, why should I queue for the cubicle if I just need to take a leak? So I said, sorry, but I'm taking a pee. If you're not comfortable, leave. I walked up to the urinal and he started calling me a prick and a creep. He didn't leave with his daughter, kept calling me names. I then finished and left and regrettably told him to get effed when I was leaving. I know I should have behaved better, particularly regarding the final comment I made as I was leaving. But besides that comment, was I the a-hole in this exchange? Should I have queued for the cubicle or waited until he and his daughter left? I'm trying to understand this because it almost seems like, because when I was, imagining this story in my mind, I was thinking for some reason that the dad was using the restroom or something and then was like having them wait. But I'm thinking now that perhaps the dad is in the line for the cubicle bathroom, probably for his daughter to go to the bathroom, I'm assuming. That's my guess. Because otherwise, why is everyone standing there, right? I'm not sure. Either way, though, I mean, he's gotta go pee. It's not like he's showing something to the girl, right? Like, I mean, worst comes to worst, the dad can like cover the girl's eyes or whatever. I don't know. When I was a child, my dad was just like, suck it up, buttercup, go into the girl's bathroom by yourself. Someone tell me what you're supposed to do in this situation. Some information to make things come together. I'm 20 in college for nursing. I live with my mom, 58, and my brother, 29. My brother doesn't work, go to school, clean, anything. He has a daughter, 4 years old, that sees him maybe once or twice a week because she lives with his girlfriend and her mom. My brother is the epitome of lazy. Every day when everyone gets home around 5, there's always a mess in the kitchen, laundry in the bathroom. The only one home to do it is my brother. My mom never scolds him. If she does, it's very light. Brother, pick up your laundry. Of course he doesn't, and she has to do it for him. Come yesterday, I get home from school and of course the house is a mess, so I sigh and take a shower to chill out. No less than 6 minutes after I get all cleaned up, my car alarm starts going off. Being home alone, I rush outside to see what it is, and it was my brother. He had slammed his door into my car's door, leaving a nasty dent, paint messed up, the whole shebang. Also, my car wasn't some hand-me-down. I had just gotten a beautiful used 2015 Charger with my own money that I saved from working part-time. Doesn't even acknowledge it and walks inside. Meanwhile, the fury of 1,000 angry Samuel L. Jacksons burned inside me. I go inside and tell him, "What the heck is your problem? You just effed my door up." My bad. That's all that came out of his mouth, without even looking away from the TV. Beyond livid, I call my mom and explain everything. While I'm talking to her on the phone, she pulls up to the house. I show her my car. Look what he did. What the heck, I don't like using the F word in front of my mom, is his problem. My mom seems not even bothered. We get inside. "Brother, don't hit Whatabeezy's car." That's all she said. I snapped and told her, why is she protecting this annoying, dirty, overgrown child, failure of a man, and a lot more angry things. My mom stared at me, went to her room, cried, and locked her door. I felt like such crap. All the while brother is still watching TV. I'm staying with my girlfriend right now. Okay, so I think I can definitely agree that the brother is awful, just straight up awful. I don't know that it was really right to take it out on the mom, even though, yeah, the mom really kind of is an enabler. I don't know, what would you label this, guys? My friend is morbidly obese and she's almost 30. She weighs over 400 pounds and has 2 kids who are already really obese despite being under 10. We were at lunch today with another friend and she was talking about how she was proud to raise her kids in an environment where they wouldn't be judged by their weight. She then said she had encouraged them to eat whatever they want and whenever they feel like it, and nobody deserves to be shamed for eating habits. I was getting annoyed but held it in. She finally said that she thinks the world is heading in the right direction and one day being fat will be seen as attractive and healthy like it should be. I couldn't hold it in. I retorted, "Karen, you're not healthy. You're a fatty, and it's absolutely appalling that your kids are heavier than the average adult male, and they're not even 10. I'm sorry if this is harsh, but you need to hear it. You sound delusional." She looked outraged and got up and left without saying anything. She blocked me on all social media and phone number. Friend said I was a jerk. AITA? I mean, you didn't have to say she was a fatty. I think that it would be okay to, if she is your friend, voice your concern that her children are heavier than an average adult male at age 10, because that is, their life being at risk. I don't think they went about it the right way. What are your guys' thoughts? Here's a short and sweet version. I have 3 toddlers. I'm currently applying to PhD programs in order to further my career down the road. At my first graduate school interview, I asked if any students in the department were parents and how they handle it, and the interviewing professor basically told me that the program does not work for mothers, and I was rejected a few days later. Later, I come to find out that there are a number of fathers in that program, but no mothers. So at the rest of my interviews, I didn't talk about my kids with the professors. I have a few offers and I'm deciding between them. I mentioned to my husband that I hadn't told any of these places that I have children, and he was pretty upset about it. He told me it's wrong to hide my children and that discussing them should have been my first priority in interviewing, and I should only want to be accepted to programs that support families. I think he's being naive about the culture of the field. AITA for not telling the interviewers about my kids. I'm not really familiar with the process of PhD programs and how that works, but I don't see honestly how it's relevant. Unless if they openly said, "Hey, do you have children?" which I don't know if they're allowed to even ask that. Why should she feel compelled to share that information? I don't know if it could possibly be relevant to her program field, but I mean, she doesn't think it's relevant, so I don't think that it's wrong for her to not want to mention her children randomly. What are your guys' thoughts? I am currently 18 years old and have been out of school for about half a year or so. I currently do not have the requirements to be eligible for college/university, so last year I decided I would want to try and fix my education and start post-secondary schooling next fall rather than immediately join the full-time workforce. While I am working to get my education back on track, I wanted to maintain a steady amount of hours at my part-time job and maybe save a little bit of money. I am at fault for slacking off a bit in high school and being in a position that results in having a gap year, but I think that I now have a good plan and I am genuinely ready to start taking school seriously once I have my footing. Early on, my mom made it known that she wanted me to pay rent if I decided to stay here. We live very comfortably compared to most, and because of that, I didn't take her very seriously whenever we discussed it. I knew that this wasn't about money, but instead more about teaching me to be better with it. I am admittedly not best with money and have not saved nearly as much as I planned to at this point, so she does have a point here, honestly. After months of periodic fighting, a few days ago, she finally gave me an ultimatum. She's asking for $500 a month and is willing to reduce it to a lower unknown amount when my gap year is over. I currently make $1,000 to $1,100 a month and pay for most of my expenses, food, hygiene, gas, etc. I have tried talking alternatives, such as suggesting she restrict access to my bank cards or even asking her to lower the amount to $200 or $300, but she is very adamant about this number. This has been taking a toll on our relationship, and I've been harboring resentment towards her because of it. I understand that she isn't obligated to keep me here rent-free, but is it too much to ask for some support while I get prepared for college? I know a concern about spending habits isn't unfounded, but am I being the a-hole in this situation? Okay, so they said that they're 18 and have been out of school for about half a year or so. So I'm assuming they're probably a little closer to 19. I don't think 18 is that glorious age that everyone tries to be like, oh, you're an adult, you're so responsible, because I have not really seen that in people. However, they are closer probably to 19, they already knew the deal that their mom was going to say, and technically they are an adult. And it's clear to me that the mom is wanting them to kind of grow up and be an adult, and this person is still trying to hold on to that child mentality. The reason I say that is because they suggested having their mom restrict access to their own bank cards. which as an adult, you shouldn't need your mommy to take your bank cards away, if you know what I mean. That's my opinion, so what's yours? So me and my girlfriend moved cross country basically due to several reasons. When we moved, I signed the lease for the apartment, and since we couldn't afford to move all of our stuff, it was easier to just buy new furniture and crap, which I paid for, since part of the reason for moving so far was because of a pretty well-paying job. Anyway, it's a big city, and we aren't familiar with a lot of people. My girlfriend knows a few folks, very few, but I don't really like them. Anyway, I sort of pieced together that she had started fooling around with a study buddy. I was seething and played it cool for a few days. Eventually, I cornered her, telling her I knew she was cheating. She tried to justify it and got defensive. I got angry and screamed at her. The argument lasted a good long while, and I'm not proud of it, but I ended it by shattering a glass against the table and told her to get the F out of my apartment. When she tried to argue, I reminded her that 99% of the furniture was paid for by me, the lease was in my name only, and I was the only one working. I told her to get whatever things she had and leave. She packed up a small collection of things, basically nothing you could survive on. She tried apologizing, but I made sure to stick to my guns. She left, carrying a few bags of decorations and some other things with no job, about $200 to $300 total to her, and both our friends and families hundreds of miles away. I've caught no end of crap from her and her friends who are saying I'm a monster who made her homeless and abandoned her with no money on the streets. She cheated on me. The place was in legal terms mine, despite both of us living there, and I honestly feel no sympathy for her. She effed over a years-long relationship. Maybe this is her punishment. Now on this one, I definitely understand the reaction for being cheated on. Obviously, that is a horrible thing to experience, and you wouldn't really want to live with your ex or someone who betrayed you like that. But as the way these sorts of things are, they moved together across the country and are living in the same place, so that's really her residence. I don't know, he might actually be able to get in trouble for kicking her out that very moment. I think it would have been better to give her a week to get her butt out, but who knows, she might be the kind of person that you can't do that with. I don't know. I mean, it's not that she would probably actually be homeless. I mean, if she has friends defending her like that and everything, I'm sure she'd be able to find her way back home, maybe live with her parents or something, or a friend for a little bit until she could get back on her feet. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Would I be the a-hole if I spiked my shampoo with hair dye? Technically not me, but my boyfriend's, but he doesn't have an account, so here goes. We live in shared housing on campus. Most of my housemates are friends, but one of them moved in later on and we're not very close to her. She's usually drunk, and when she has her friends over, we can't get any sleep because of all the noise she makes. We sometimes find her passed out on the top of her mountain of stuff in her room that she never cleans. She, or her friends, had also stolen the sandwiches I'd packed before a day out, which I found out after I'd gone out. Recently, my other housemate had noticed that her shampoo had been going down more than she was using it. By process of elimination, we guessed that it was probably that housemate. We are quite done with her crap by now, and we're thinking of spiking some shampoo in an opaque bottle with hair dye to teach her a lesson. If it doesn't go in her hair, at least her hands will be colored. So, in doing this, AITA? Edit. Due to valid concerns, her hair is dyed. It would be unlikely that she's allergic to substances she's already used. Edit number 2. Yes, hair dye might not be the best idea. We are looking at the alternatives you guys are suggesting. We don't want to do damage, just send a message that she needs to stop. Edit number 3, pasting one of my replies for visibility. We've talked to her about it, kind of harder to forget when you've stumbled out to the kitchen at 3 in the morning after a 12-hour shift. Medical student, so he does regular training in medical facilities, to a bunch of drunk people howling and pounding the kitchen table in. Right now, she's got friends in her room, doors closed, and we can hear her howling in the opposite end of the place with our door closed. We've also talked to her about the sandwich. She blames it on her friends that she doesn't control or take responsibility for. My boyfriend's only plate, hey, student life, was also loaned once, and he couldn't have his daily cereal. He caught her a few days later trying to sneak it back to the kitchen, which when confronted, she broke down into tears. She's also left Indian food in her room once for half a week. The entire house stank of rotting food and then her cloying perfume because she thought it was a good idea. She's only been here about 1.5 months. We're quite tired. We're not going to put Nair in the shampoo because we're not that cruel, but she needs to stop and she doesn't own up when we ask her about things. Honestly, something that stood out to me about this story is, why is he eating cereal off of a plate? Like, student life, sure, you have one plate, but maybe you should have one bowl too, because I don't know anyone who eats cereal off of a plate. But in all seriousness, what are your guys' thoughts on this? I think it's fine as long as they're not doing anything that would actually be harmful. It's their stuff anyway, she shouldn't touch it in the first place, but that's my thoughts. Let me know yours. My sister is having a baby boy in about 1.5 months and is thinking of giving him the name Target, pronounced Target, or like the French pronunciation of the word Target that people will often use when making jokes about the company or chain of Target stores. Neither my sister or her boyfriend are of French heritage. I cannot imagine a name more tacky or embarrassing for a person to have, and I have a strong fear that my nephew will become a Target for bullying and teasing once he reaches school age. I told my sister, as nicely as I could, my thoughts on her potential name choice for her son and how other people are bound to laugh at him and make fun of him for it, and she seemed very offended and upset. AITA? I ran across this post and I thought, this has gotta be a joke, but okay. And then I read a comment in response that honestly just made me keep this whole thing in for amusement's sake. Could someone also tell her that Target isn't French for Target? Target in French has a completely different word. Actually, a couple of different words depending on which meaning of target you're after. There is a French word Target, but it isn't pronounced Target, it's Target, and it's a feminine word, and it means a bolt, like a latch or a lock on a door or gate. The only thing worse than a terrible French word for a name is a terrible imaginary French word for a name. Whatever she thinks this name means, she is wrong. It only means a joke about Target. She'd be better off just naming him Target, giving him a brother named Archer, and pretending it was an intentional, terrible theme. People are not only going to bully her son, they're going to think his mom is dumber than a box of rocks. I don't know why that amused me so much. I really hope that this is a joke, whether the OP is the one joking or the sister is. But if not, I hope all the best for that poor boy. I've been Facebook friends with a woman who I met through work for about 8 years now. I also know her daughters, who I also met through work. One of which is now 16 or 17 and works at a movie theater that I frequent. We make small talk whenever I'm there. How's it going? How's the family? Stuff like that. She's a good kid. Her parents have been divorced since I've known them. I know her mom, but don't know her dad. Her mom has always been on Facebook making very personal status updates about how her ex-husband took all of their friends in the divorce and how she feels excommunicated from our community. That's all well and good, but where it gets weird is when she talks about her kids. She says how she feels unappreciated by her children and how she resents them for saying anything nice about their father. She uses their names when recounting discussions, events, or fights they've had together. She tells us about everything, from their bedwetting problems to their adult exploits. Specifically, catching her oldest in the act and documenting how humiliated she was. Her second youngest has a chronic illness which keeps her in a wheelchair, which she documents in the most undignified way. It's extremely private stuff that I know that no child would want their parents telling their thousands of Facebook friends. I've brought up how weird this is to her in the past, but she laughed it off like it was a joke and nothing changed. I know it's none of my business, but I think it's wrong and that her kids deserve better than to have the most awkward parts of their lives be public diary entries. Would I be the a-hole if I told her oldest? Edit 2. After thinking about this all day and reading these replies, I think I'm just gonna go with my gut and not say anything to her. I thought about confronting her mother, and then her mother making even more statuses about how she can't trust anyone and being stabbed in the back or something. The whole situation is sad, and I feel so terribly for those kids. Thanks for the help, Reddit. This is rough. I mean, obviously she's made a decision on this one, but I don't think she's an a-hole for wanting to tell the daughter, but I also don't know that telling the daughter is gonna change anything. I mean, if the daughter doesn't know that her mom is saying all those things, maybe it's best for her to never know. I don't know, what do you guys think? And this is actually going to end today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I want to encourage you also, if you ever want me to narrate one of your stories, check out my community tab. I'll probably have some posts out there for you guys to be able to share your stories. Or if it's too long for the community tab, maybe we can figure something else out. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop a like, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!